Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, much love and respect to you brothers out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. And shalom to you Aqua that listen and learn in humility. Now, this video is going to be dealing with the turbine that was sent to Germany from Canada. Okay, this is causing, divisions and disruptions amongst these Edomite leaders and these Edomite kings and princes. I'm going to read this headline here. It says, Trudeau defends decision to return turbines to Germany for Russian pipeline. Because the reason they're returning it is so that they can get that oil from Russia. As you know, that they're in dire situation in Germany dealing with their gas and energy, right? So what they're doing is they're rationing hot water. They're closing pools. You see, they're doing all these. They're dimming street lights to preserve energy and gas because they're not getting the Russian gas as before, because America put sanctions on Russia and so on and so forth, and Russia's asking for rubles to do business with them, and there's a lot of things happening that are strategic, which is really, that's warfare in itself. That's economic warfare, So this is what it says. It says Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is defending his government's decision to return turbines used in a pipeline to carry natural gas from Russia to Germany. The turbines, which had been sent to Montreal, this is where I'm from, for scheduled repairs, were caught up in the economic sanctions Canada imposed on Russia following its invasion on Ukraine. You see that? You see what I'm saying? So Canada put sanctions on Russia along with America. It started with America, but then Canada followed suit, put sanctions on Russia, right? And part of that, they said, listen, we're not going to give back this turbine because, we don't want you getting any Russian gas, which is completely stupid because they depend on gas. All right. And that's supposed to be their allies. But this is how the Edomite operates. He only cares about his own interest. It says the federal government said Saturday that it will grant a time limit and revocable permit to Siemens Canada to allow for the return of the turbines used for Nord Stream 1, which is the pipeline, a set of natural gas pipelines connecting Germany and Russia. Okay. And it says, speaking at a press conference in Kingston, Ontario on Wednesday, Trudeau said the decision to return the turbines was difficult but necessary given the need to support Germany and other European allies in the face of threatened natural gas shortages. You see, so Russia has these other nations by the neck, has the beast by the neck, all right, so to speak. Okay, basically they're in a hard place right now based upon Russia. They took over the Ukrainian country that the Ukrainian city that delivers the grain. I forgot the name of it. Okay, delivers the grain and the different the wheat, so on and so forth. And they said they're only sending it out to friendly countries. Okay, so this is nothing but economic warfare, strategic warfare that Russia is playing, and they're winning right now, as it seems. It says we have seen Russia consistently trying to weaponize energy as a way of creating division amongst the allies. He said European countries have vowed to, let's deal with that. Okay, creating division amongst the allies. What you're seeing here is nothing more than division. Okay, this is I'm saying Romans. This is Daniel's 2:40. It says, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, And as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And that's speaking about the Roman Empire. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, which is the extension of the Roman Empire, or the rebirth of the Roman Empire, okay, that's what the toes represent, okay, and that's where we're at. We're at the toes, okay. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Right? Let me read that again. It said something here. It said what? We have seen Russia consistently trying to weaponize energy as a way of creating division amongst the allies. And who are the allies? The different beast heads, okay, along with the whore. Okay, so they're creating divisions amongst them. It's all strategic, okay? And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly... I was up here. Salakia. Let me read 41 again. It says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. Right? So the beast still has strength. You know, the beast is not weak. The beast has strength. And that's why the BRICS was created. Right? The BRICS nations came together to combat the beast because the beast is so strong. It says, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. In other words, they're completely divided, which makes them weak. Okay, at the end of the day, although they're strong militarily, really they've become weakened because what? They're divided, you know. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be broken, shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. That's speaking about the kingdom of heaven. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great power hath made known the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Now, the thing about that stone, which represents Yahweh Shai, it hit the feet. It didn't hit the head. It didn't hit the chest. It hit the feet, which is where we're at right now. So Yahweh Shai is coming back in this time, okay, to take down this kingdom, in this system. All right, you understand? But before that happens, what happens? There's going to be different, there's going to be World War III, okay? And we know what the end result of that is, okay? But let me get This is Luke 11:18. It says, if Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? All right. So these Edomites are divided. How is their kingdom going to stand? Right? Because ye say that I cast out devils through Beelzebub. Okay, because they were trying to say that Yahweh Shai was casting out devils through Satan. Well, if Satan's is divided against Satan, his kingdom could not stand. And that applies to these Edomites because they're divided. You know, and it's going to come to a point where that beast is going to turn on the whore. Okay. You know, when I speak about that beast, I'm speaking about the the NATO and the EU. Okay, it's going to turn on America, which is riding upon that beast. Matter of fact, let me go up to 1 and jump down. This is Revelation 17:1. It says, "And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." You see, so they've taken on to the philosophies of America, and they follow whatever America says. That's why they had to go along with the sanctions and whatnot, even though they didn't agree, because America's the one that's in control. They're sitting in the power seat. Okay, it says, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornications." And that's what America pushes on the earth: a bunch of filthiness and fornication and wickedness and rebellion against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. "And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth." Let's jump down to the 12th verse. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast." The reason they have that power is because they're joined together in one. They're joined together as one, which creates the beast. All right, the beast is strong. All right, "These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they are with him, and they that are with him, are called and chosen and faithful." I'll jump down to the 17th verse. Matter of fact, the 16th verse. So, I'll continue. It says, "And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." So they're going to turn on America, "and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." So they're going to end up shooting nuclear missiles on America, right along with Russia, China, Iran, Ethiopia, so on and so forth. Okay? "For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled." And we're coming to that time, man. There's a lot of divisions amongst them, and they're going to understand sooner or later that the root of their problems stems from America, stems from Babylon the Great. Okay? Because who was the one that was leading the charge in all this? Setting up sanctions on Russia and whatever the case may be. It's Babylon the Great, right? And behind the scenes, who's Babylon the Great controlled by? The minuscule hats, the small hats, man. All right, that's why they do whatever. If the state of Israel were to get into any type of beef, right, Babylon would back them, and that's gonna lead to World War III. Let's get Jeremiah 49, verse 20. Okay, that's gonna lead to the destruction of Babylon the Great. This is Jeremiah 49:20. It says, "Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely The least of the flock shall draw them out. Draw them out to what? To war. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Okay, so you gotta watch for what those the state of Israel does. Okay, you gotta watch what they do, because they don't care. They're full of pride. They don't give a damn. Okay, they do whatever they want to do. Okay, so let's get Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, and then matter of fact, I'm gonna play a video first before I even get Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Because that's kind of going into another point. But let's play this video.
A dangerous precedent. That's how Ukraine is describing Canada's decision to allow Russian-owned gas turbines to return to Germany. These turbines are used in the Nord Stream 1, a pipeline that transfers Russian natural gas to Germany. They've been stranded in a Montreal area repair facility, their export blocked by Canadian sanctions against Moscow. But now, the Canadian government has issued a waiver allowing these turbines to return to Germany and then on to Russia. Why? The government says this is about protecting Germany's economy and energy security. Yulia Kovalev is Ukraine's ambassador to Canada and joins us now. Hello, Ambassador.
Good afternoon.
Your country is tonight summoning the Canadian ambassador to speak to this issue, and your government says this decision by the Canadian government sets a dangerous precedent. Why do you say that?
Yes, first of all, let me thank you for a broad support of the Canadians since the very first day of the war. And yes, we deeply disappointed by the decision to provide the permit for these turbines to be maintained and to be further shipped to Germany. But we all understand that the final destination of these turbines is Russian Gazprom. And why? First of all, because for many years, and especially now, Russia is using energy as a weapon in Europe and through all over the world. Since the very first day of the war until now, over $100 billion Russian economy gained from export of oil and gas. And this money in full are going to support the war in Ukraine. And on Saturday, another evidence about the cruelty of Russian barbaric war against Ukraine is the example of 31 people dead in a 4 Iskander missiles hit the residential building in Kharkiv region.
So they want them to stop doing this, but they don't care about the German people. All right, just looking at it from this way, which to hell with these Edomites and these different beast countries or whatever. But the point is, these are supposed to be your brethren, right? And they're clearly going through a struggle. They're suffering based upon not having enough gas, right? Therefore, not having enough energy, right? And they're looking for a solution. But you're saying, nah, we just so you don't support the people that's coming up against you. Nah, they're gonna have to suffer. You see what I'm saying? Just to punish the people that are coming up against you when those people are gonna win anyway. Russia's still gonna, whether they get that pipeline, that turbine put in or not, to deliver the gas and get that money, they're still gonna take over Ukraine. No matter what, you don't have enough firepower to take down the Russians. That's ridiculous. And we knew that from the beginning. Come on, man. I knew that was a joke. All the things they were saying, oh, yo, the Russians, the Ukraine, they're fighting, they're brave. That's a joke. Okay, that's Hollywood right there. All right. There's no way on earth that they could take down the bear. Okay, that's, first of all, the NATO and the EU was created to combat the bear, specifically NATO. Okay, was created to combat the Russia, to protect against Russia. So all them countries have to come to protect against Russia, and you think that literal Ukraine, is going to be able to take over Russia, destroy Russia? It makes no sense. Okay, but that's the logic of these people. All right, and it's showing you that these people, they only care about their own interest. When it comes down to it, these nations and these people and these different tribes of Esau, they only care about themselves. And the more we get closer to that famine and the society breaking down, you're gonna see, as the elder Ariella coins it, the original Edomite emerge. You're gonna see that Esau doesn't give a damn about anything else but his own survival and well-being.
And we still are searching for other victims of this horrific crime. And these people will not only have the problem with heating, they have the problem with those families who lost their people in these horrific attacks, and they also lost their homes. And this is what every day since the February 24th, the country is suffering and Ukrainians are suffering. And Russians are just blackmailing the Europe. We do believe this is a very dangerous precedent, waiving the sanctions to satisfy another demand of Gazprom and actually another demand of Russian regime. And we need to hold united all together to maintain this unity in the sanctions and not waiving them.
Okay, but the Canadian government insists that this decision is about shoring up the German economy and energy security in the short term. Germany, as you know, is already facing a gas crisis. It's rationing hot water, dimming the street lights. If the return of these turbines helps alleviate that pressure while Germany transitions away from Russian gas, why is that not an appropriate thing to do at this point?
We were in the dialogue both with the Canadian and German government, and we are offering alternatives for the short-term solution for energy security for EU countries this winter, because we do realize that many years this dependency on Russian gas has been built, and now it is an urgent issue, but we provided several options and still discussing these options, and that involve not waiving the sanctions, but alternative ways to deliver this gas to Europe.
But if you're worried that one of the risks here is that you end up with a break in.
Well, what is the alternative? She's saying they were discussing alternatives. Well, clearly those alternatives were not sufficient, because if it was, they wouldn't have to result to this, right? So what was the alternatives that she's talking about, man? Russia is the major player in gas. Okay, so what's the alternative?
In solidarity with Ukraine, doesn't that become the risk anyway if parts of Europe face an energy crisis?
Our proposals that we have been presented address the issue of energy security and the risk related to Russian blackmailing. And these proposals have been discussed, and we still do believe that the decision will be revoked.
Have you had any conversations with the Canadian government about this issue? If so, how did that conversation go?
We still have the conversations, and as both the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine and the Ministry of Energy stated in their statement, that we do propose the Canadian government to revoke this permission and consider the options that Ukrainian government was proposing to address, including to address those risks that.
Anyways, man, that's enough on that, man. This chick's accent is annoying, but anyways, that's the point, man. The point is that they're divided, and at the end of the day, Russia's winning this little war that they're having economically. Okay, Russia seems to have them by the throat. They're not affecting Russia on no levels. Okay, So what's that going to end up leading to? Is going to end up leading to war. And the fact that this American, a matter of fact, I believe I read something that the inflation was at 9.8 or something like that right now for the dollar. But the dollar itself is getting stronger, right? Which is going to affect these smaller countries, these other countries, because what, they have to pay back a lot of their debt in dollars. So if they got to change over their money, which is worth less compared to the dollar, that just negatively affects them. And that's what happened to Sri Lanka. All right. So anyways, let me read this real quick. This is Ezekiel 38 in verse 2. It says, "Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee." And that's speaking of Russia. Gog and Magog is speaking about Russia. "O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sort of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." Which you got to put that into the modern day terms, right? The different tanks, the machine guns, the nuclear missiles. These are the new weaponries. That this is speaking about a future prophecy that has not happened yet, just getting ready to happen. World War III. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. Persia's who? Iran. Okay. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepared for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. And that's what Russia is. He's a guard unto the nations that are with him. Okay, and there's a lot of nations with him. Okay, it's BRICS, the BRICS, and they're adding, I believe they added Saudi Arabia, and they're getting ready to add Iran to that, man. Okay, you already got India, you got Brazil, which is Jake. You got you got a few other countries in there, but that's opposition to NATO, And the way I look at it, man, is Russia kind of represents those, the dark nations, versus the Babylon kind of represents the Edomite nations. Because you look at the EU, what's that full of? That's full of Edomites. NATO full of Edomites, man. But Russia, you got a lot of them other nations surrounding it. Okay, and they're lifting up parables against America and the beast, but mainly America. Okay, mainly America. All right. So yeah, man, this is World War III is on the horizon, and clearly these Edomites are divided, man. So with that, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, much love and respect to you, Akim, out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. Shalom.